Oh.
Nice.
All right, welcome to the warm-up. Jim and I are yawning because an 8:30 p.m. start time for a basketball game is way past our threshold. Welcome to Old Age. Means you can get into Denny's and get a glass and breakfast for under $3. But it also means you pay a price the next morning for staying up late watching these games. It was a terrific college basketball game.
It was all right.
It was a terrific performance by Klay Thompson, who had 43 points last night. Isaiah Thomas was sensational. He had the game of his life, I thought. And their two young players, C.J. Wilcox, the redshirt freshman, who we know can light it up. Man, he was sensational against UCLA, and he was good again last night with clutch threes down the stretch. Terrence Ross got the start for Lorenzo Romar. And I also thought Romar did a terrific job of scheming the game. They really picked up the tempo in the second half. They extended their defense, played a lot of full court pressure, and I thought it wore Washington State down to a degree. But give the Cougars a great deal of credit, man. I thought they were dead with about 3 minutes to go. They rallied right back, and then that missed free throw by Klay Thompson. 1 and 2. Man, that hurt. But there were so many other things that, of course, compounded.
God, and I blame Clay's free throw on Tim Hunt, a guy I was sitting next to in the bar.
On Tim Hunt?
I do, because fellow Cougar, WSU alum. Anyway, Thompson gets to the line, and he goes, God, Clay, as good as he is, he tends to miss free throws when it's
crunch
clutch.
time.
Yeah, sure enough. And he short-armed that first one, didn't he?
And he threw it up there quick.
Yeah, well, he's been throwing them up there quick, but he he short-armed that one, and yeah, that was a killer. But
he
was
was
hard
outstanding last night.
Hard to fault Clay for They wouldn't have been within 2 at the end without Thompson. And people were criticizing him for getting the rebound with 2 seconds to go and hitting that putback, and it still would have been hard. I think it would have been nice to see him grab the ball, have enough awareness
to dribble into the corner. Right.
But I don't think.
And then he gets caught.
He wouldn't have made it in time.
And then you're going to criticize him when he didn't get the shot off in time? No, I thought it was a correct play. Here, I'll go back 7 seconds. 9.2, you're down 3. Your hot hand, who has 41 points at this point, is bringing the ball inbounds to Reggie Moore. What was that about?
Well, the plan was probably to get it to Reggie, and then Clay was going to go maybe get off.
Clay went to the opposite side of the court. I watched it 6 times.
I kept looking for him. I was like, where's number one? Where's number one? Where's number one? You got to get it to number one.
He's on the opposite side of the court. Reggie, they decide not to foul. Reggie clears mid-court, and he's got to get off a 3, and he takes his sweet time, and then they come to foul.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good strategy. My question would have been, had Moore brought the ball in bounds to Clay, would they have immediately fouled Klay Thompson? My guess is they would have. Because you don't want Klay Thompson dribbling up the floor and then fouling him, because he's good from 30 feet out, Jim. We know that. Pop, tie game, oh, by the way, I'm fouled. Now we got a 1-point lead. So I thought it was good strategy by Washington, but I thought Washington State played into their hands by allowing Klay Thompson to bring the ball in bounds. I thought, that's odd. That's really odd. But had Thompson received the ball, I'm almost sure Washington would have fouled him immediately. He goes to the line. He makes 2. With probably 7 seconds remaining, they're down 1, and I like that opportunity with 7 seconds down 1, because now you can foul Washington immediately. You get the ball back maybe with 6 seconds left.
Right, with no timeouts.
With no timeouts.
But you might be able to get a 2 to make it go into.
You never know. At least you get another possession there. I'd like to ask Ken Bone that. Why didn't Klay Thompson receive the inbounds pass in that situation with 9 seconds remaining? I was shocked. And the other thing that I thought was interesting is that their zone, which had been so good, suddenly they go match up man-to-man, and Isaiah Thomas a couple of times just blows right by Reggie because Clay is in the backside of the zone. He's got 4 fouls. He can't step up and be aggressive. And twice Isaiah's able to get to the rim. Yeah, I thought it was an outstanding game. That's one of the few games where I will go back, replay the doggone thing, and you can replay it and you can second guess, and that's kind of the fun, I think, of watching sports.
Well, Ernie Kent, I heard him on Brock and Salk this morning. He was saying he thinks the Cougars went to man because CJ was hitting those threes.
And Clay had 4 fouls, and there was no good match
to get him out of that. But here's what I don't understand, and you know basketball better than I do. Why did they allow Isaiah Thomas to go to his left and finish with his left hand?
Beats me. We talked about it yesterday.
Can't you overplay? Wouldn't you take your chances? Like, even if he beats you right, wouldn't you rather have Isaiah pull up for a 12-footer and take your chances with that than a lay-in?
Yes.
And
we talked about
he did it over and over again.
In their
the
zone, they've got Capers at the top of the zone. We talked about, all right, the top of the zone, he's on Isaiah's left hand, that you naturally force him right. But they got out of that zone, they went man, and you got one guy, your star player, who you're not going to take off the floor with 4 fouls. And I'll tell you another thing I thought was interesting. You got Brock Modem on the court. Why? You have Casto on the floor to match with NBA. Why is Modem on the floor? Why wasn't Aiden, Casto, Klay Thompson, and Capers with Casto on in the last 5 minutes? I thought that was...
Well, because... the last 5 minutes, not just the last play.
No, the last 5 minutes. Because Aiden actually was in the last play. I went back and replayed the tape. But leading up to this, Brock Modem... And Modem had and you know I'm a fan of his, he had a tough night last night.
Mm-hmm.
When they break the zone, the last guy to get that ball late in the game was Modem. He threw up some shots last night.
He had one lay-in, too, in the second half.
I'm out of my chair. Dunk it!
Yeah. Or bank
You big galoot! I love you!
Dunk it or bank it.
But dunk it!
Dunk it or bank it.
Yeah. Well...
Trickled off the left.
It was a heck of a game. What does it do for Washington? It gets them into the tournament. I don't think they really... it'll be interesting to see how they come out against the Ducks tonight. Ducks, I said they'd be competitive with UCLA, but they kicked the bejesus out of UCLA last night.
I heard in the second half, they had a 22-point lead at one point.
They never got it under double digits, UCLA. It was a horrible performance by the Bruins.
And Dana Altman, he's worried about fatigue setting in tonight. 3 games in 3 nights, but the Huskies, we talked about it a little while ago.
Yeah.
I would think they're going to be, if they're not physically fatigued, they're going to be mentally drained, aren't they?
I would think so. Plus, knowing they're in the tournament, really, this will be interesting. How much juice can they get up for this Oregon team, knowing that they're already in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. So, this Washington team, once again, it's been a roller coaster ride this year. You watch them play last night, you're thinking, they get Vanoy Overton back, they get into the tournament, the right matchups, the right seeding, the right location, it could all fall their way. They could be a Sweet 16 team, who knows?
Well, they could be.
Yeah,
definitely.
They played like it last night.
And they can win this tournament, too, this Pac-10 tournament.
They can.
And that would help their seed.
Although USC, I think, has a great deal, obviously, more at stake than any of these other teams, because they have got to beat Arizona tonight, in my opinion, in order to make the tournament. And we went over their credentials. They've got all the credentials, but I really think that they're at that point where, just kind of looking around, I think that they're on Lenardi. They're one of the last 4 in, and he's usually pretty accurate about this stuff. I think they need this one against Arizona tonight.
Well, I think if they win tonight, they're in.
They're in, absolutely. But if they don't get it,
if they don't get it, they still might get it.
I'm saying they're on real thin ice, so they can assure themselves, I think, obviously, with a win tonight over Arizona. That would be 2 wins over Arizona on the year for the Trojans. All right, great stuff. Plus, the NFL players decertify. What in the world does that mean? And why should you care? Lee Steinberg will be with us, the super agent and outstanding attorney with a degree from Berkeley. That is today here on 710. Good night, everybody.